Jesus had 12 disciples. As Jesus had 12 disciples, the 12 disciples represent the fact that all of the prophets had 12 disciples. The 12 disciples also represent the fact that out of 124,000 prophets and 315 apostles of the Most High, 12 of them are disciples of Melchizedek. Each of them had some mystical purpose on earth and were of the order of Melchizedek. The 12 disciples of Melchizedek are 1. Adipha, Enoch, the son of Jared and Silam. As Genesis 5:24 states, and I quote, "And Enoch walked with the Elohim and he was not, for the Elohim took him." 2. Jethro. Jethro taught Moses, for a period of 40 years in order to administer unto the children of Israel, and Moses also married his daughter Zipporah. 3. The third being Job son of Issachar and Adarah was a newsbearer who was tried by the Elohim. He taught man patience and endurance. 4. Solomon, the son of David and Bathsheba. He prayed for wisdom and it was given to him. 5. Isaiah son of Amoz and Jedidah, he received the word of the New Jerusalem and the Messiah. 6. Jeremiah son of Hilkiah and Nara. He was alone against all the chosen of the Most High, the Israelites after their transgression. Remember, the Ishmaelites were always the chosen people, but the Israelites were chosen to carry the law until the period of time that the Ishmaelites would be given the law to keep. 7. Ezekiel son of Buzi and Mihau, he saw the elders in flight. 8. Daniel son of Jara and Geber interpreted dreams, he interpreted the writing on the wall. Daniel 5:12. All of these were found in the same Daniel. El is my judge, an excellent soul and overstanding, and insight on interpreting dreams, and declaration of riddles and dissolving of doubts, whom the ruler Nebuchadnezzar named Belteshazzar prince of Baal. Therefore now let Daniel El is my judge be called out, and he will show us the interpretation. Right translation in Aramaic, Hebrew, by Dr. Malachi Z. York. 9. Joel son of Pethuel and Jechanah. He was told of the end of the world prophecy as spoken of in the revelation of Jesus the Messiah, Joel 2:28-32. 10. Jonah son of Amittai and Rumah. He stayed in the belly of a whale for 3 days and 3 nights. Jonah 1:1-2 and 17. 11. Elijah was a Zadok priest after the order of Melchizedek. Elijah didn't experience a physical death, he ascended to the heavens. The spirit of Elijah incarnates into different persons to do certain jobs. 12. Ahmad Muhammad son of Abdullah and Amina. He traveled the heavens and was initiated into the spiritual mysteries of the human soul, the secrets of life, death, heaven and earth. Jesus is a high priest and representative of Melchizedek, the green one. All of this represents the circle of the secret seat of counsel. The secret seat of counsel is based on the science of the Kaaba, a cube-shaped building, draped in black, which houses the black stone, a piece of the black mud or carbon, used to shape Adam. The construction of the Kaaba is based on the circle and the square, the two things in existence that is the mystery that surrounds Anu's, Elion El's handiwork called creation. Anu, Elion El, the Most High made the beginning exist by using the science of the circle and the square. He performed a feat that the scientific mind of today would term as miraculously impossible. He took the infinite and formed a circle and a square. He then took the circle, turned it inside out, and produced a state of nothingness, void and darkness. Only Anu, Elion El, the Most High can make this happen. Look closer at what I have said, and you will discover the true meaning and overstating of what took place. In studying one of the sciences of figures such as the circle and the square, geometry, we learn that, if quantities are equal to the same quantities or equal quantities, then they are equal to each other. Things equal to the same things are equal to each other. Or if the circle and square are both equal to 360 degrees, then they are equal to each other. Shapes create illusions, making objects appear other than what they actually are. These two structures appear to be different. However, when exploring the chemistry and mathematics of such shapes, you will find the answer that they are the same. First, Anu, Elion El created nothing. Then, Anu took the infinite and formed a circle. Infinite has no beginning, no distinct points of direction. All points are the same distance from the center, to the line, circumference, to the circle and cannot be extended in any direction, extreme. Then, the Anu formed the square. Finite has 4 points of direction, points from center to perimeter are not the same distance. Lines can extend in more than one direction, extreme. Then, he took the circle and turned it inside out and placed it within the confines of the square, by first separating the circle into 4 parts. The 4 parts, Anu caused to merge and form. Because both the square and circle equal the same, they both have the same magnetic charge, and what happens when two the same, charges are put together? They push away from each other, they repel, but because of the tremendous amount of force and pressure of fusion, a force that made them act, they submit contrary to their natural act of repelling. Two distinct incomplete squares formed, and after further being subjected to the intense commandment of Anu, merged together to form one single, complete square. The center of each square and each circle became as one. If you look closely, you will see every quarter part of the circle within the square. Anu, the Most High, deals with perfection and thereby completion, which equals 360 degrees. The triangle, whether acute, obtuse, or right, equals 180 degrees, which is exactly 1/2 of 360 degrees. Therefore, it is incomplete. These and all other geometric figures originated from the circle. However, because of the stability of the square, it was the most suitable for harnessing this busy energy. Now think. If you wanted to package a set of expensive chinaware, would you place it in a box-like object, or would you use an object shaped as a circle or a triangle? Of course, the box-shaped vessel is of first preference. For this reason, the square was chosen to contain this restless energy. This energy, because of its unfamiliarity with its new environment, before it was considered free energy, tried to escape beyond the borders of the square. As a result of its effort, it pushed upward, outward, and downward, still unable to find an avenue of escape. This constant action produced tremendous heat from its friction that increased to the point that the square could no longer accommodate the energy, and a great explosion occurred. This event was created in heaven and was not part of the physical plane. Its physical manifestation was still to come. Today we know this manifestation as the sun. It was many years after the ascension of Jesus of 2,000 years ago, at the age of 120, that the schools were said to be the incorrect way to serve the Most High. The Christian founders recognized the schools to be one great power as opposed to their ultimate success in duping the people. Their new religion of Christianity was to be founded upon faith alone. However, we know that the Most High said to us that faith alone is not the way. Many of the secret documents of the greater mysteries were gradually absorbed by Christianity into their literal or esoteric form without any explanation of their inner meaning. This is what it is today, barely understood and misinterpreted. Christianity forbade its followers to search or seek in any way. Christianity taught them to lean fully upon the church, or the pope, or the preacher, for divine intercession with the Most High. Thus came an era of fantastic symbolism. Having glimpsed the sacred symbols of the lesser mysteries, humans' wild imaginings gave birth to weird rites, orgies, black magic, terror and witchcraft. Masked magicians strode over the lands performing half-learned psychic arts, and medicine men whispered loudly of fabulous formulas, possessing mystical power. Vile potions, hen's book, dried toads and magical chants were sought after. Devil worship came out of the darkness into the light. The talismans and amulets of the schools, which bore tremendous power for the true disciples, were reproduced, degraded and commercialized. Those who had earlier received the teachings of the lesser mysteries, now degenerated them into fanatical festivities and orgies that could lay no claim to the schools, for they were truly labeled ego. The schools taught the disciples to seek knowledge for themselves concerning the mysteries of life, death and the Most High. Under the tyrants Theodosius, Cyril the Archbishop of Alexandria, and Theophilus, Patriarch of Alexandria, the schools as great institutions. The most famous thing about Alexandria was the great library located there. This library and its learning complex was called by the Latins, museum. It was one of the schools that stored the Most High's knowledge for humans. This knowledge was possessed by the ancient kingdom of Salem, which was ruled by Melchizedek, and it far surpasses that possessed by the modern society. Here, the sciences, mathematics, technology, time calculations, and medicine flourished untampered until this great library was destroyed. The tyrants were eager to incorporate the secret writings of the school into their religion, Christianity and the likes. The sacred writings of the schools were slowly put into the doctrine of Christianity, but any outward proof that the scriptures laid rooted in the schools were totally destroyed. Subsequently, under instructions of Theophilus, came the burning of the immense library of Alexandria. The world will never fully recover from this tragedy. Although some of the precious scriptures and manuscripts were hidden and saved. This library of Alexandria contained over 700,000 of the most remarkable writings, documents, scriptures, and manuscripts ever collected on the face of the earth. Even though the great library of Alexandria itself survived, its inner glory was utterly destroyed by the enemies of the Most High. Any writings condemning the doctrine of Christianity were annihilated. The six-pointed star is a symbol as ancient as time itself. The center of the six-pointed star symbolizes the spinal cord. The crescent symbolizes the crown and its divine contents, for within the brain is the radiant kingdom of the Most High within man. The six-pointed star had also been utilized by the elders who walked with men in Genesis chapter 6, in the days of Mu. The elders were the teachers who formed the first mystery schools of learning to teach the children of earth. They taught about the seat of light mistakenly called Kundalini or sleeping serpent. The nervous system is the communications and control network of the body. Through electrochemical impulses it senses, sorts, stores and uses messages that control your bodily functions and processes. It is also responsible for thought, strategy and decision-making. The nervous system is composed of an enormous network of nerve fibers and cells that reaches every part of the body. 1. The sympathetic nervous system. It is feminine negative in polarity. It is a series of fibers connected together as two cords or threads extending from the skull near the opening of the two nostrils to the base of the spine. The sympathetic fibers form a connected chain that runs parallel to the spinal cord, but lies outside the bone. The sympathetic system is the same in each human, and is the difference of a man being an active human being or a man being a vegetable. It is human's movement. 2. The cerebrospinal nervous system. It is masculine positive in polarity. It consists of the brain and the spinal cord, which together make up the central nervous system, CNS. It receives the information from all parts of the body via incoming sensory nerves, then sorts out this information, and finally, it sends the proper information of the body requiring adjustments. In the cerebrospinal system, lies the difference between personalities. It is man's will. Its major control are the seven senses: seeing, touch, hearing, intuition, psychometry, clairvoyance, telepathy. Two main components of the brain are the cerebrum and the cerebellum. The cerebrum is the upper brain and lies like a skull cap over the entire head. This is why Muslims must keep their heads covered. It is connected with the pituitary or feminine gland. The pituitary is queen of the inner kingdom. It represents the third eye. The cerebrospinal system is represented by the mystic symbol, the six-pointed star and crescent. The six-pointed star is a symbol as ancient as time itself, having been utilized by the elders who walked with men in Genesis chapter 6, in the days of learning to teach the children of earth. The center of the six-pointed star symbolized the spinal cord. The crescent symbolized the crown and its divine contents, for lying within the brains is the radiant kingdom of Anu within man. The sustainer of this realm is the pineal gland, the Lamb, and he is surrounded by his 12 disciples, or the 12 convolutions of the brain, or the 12 spiritual centers in the brain that relate to the 12 major pairs of cranial nerves which pass from under the surface of the brain, through the openings of the cranium to reach the organs in human's body. At present, there are normally only a few of these 12 spiritual centered opened or active, affecting humans' daily life. As man progresses spiritually, tiny valves leading up the spinal column open one by one. Eventually, he spiritualizes the last 3 pairs of nerves, which in turn, open the 12 spiritual centers of force in the brain and flood the physical form with spiritual power and awareness, changing him from man to son of Anu. The 12 cranial nerves have a counterpart, 12 positive, and 12 negative, which gives a total of 24. This coincides with the 24 elders that sat on the throne. You are only being told about the 31 spinal nerves, not including the last 2. Some call it the Kundalini or sleeping serpent. This symbol came from the ancient Sumerian symbol for alchemy. By raising the seat of light, Kundalini, through the 33 spinal nerves and the relating seats, and unfolding the third eye through the 12 cranial nerves and the relating seats, one attains wisdom and spiritual powers. These valves are related to the 33 spinal nerves, also the 33 degrees in masonry, and symbolic of Jacob's ladder. Refer to Genesis 28:12. The third eye is called the great eye, the all-seeing eye or the single eye. Light that poured out from between his eyes, an area that the elders called the third eye. It is well known by the spiritual healers of old and by teachers and disciples from the mystery schools of learning. This light was called by many other names such as a strain for visual power, a virtue, a vital energy, an invisible antenna, a force from the soul, a vapor of cosmic energy. The Aquarian Age is a period of time of the end when the unknown begins to assume its true place in life with its owners. Abu Huraira said, the Apostle of Allah said, the word wisdom is the lost property of the believer, so wherever he finds it he has a better right to it. Hadith. The Aquarian Age is when the natural resources for man's inner qualities and abilities, not commonly known, will rise to their full capacity, and the source is the third eye. The third eye is symbolized in many things. The third eye is found as a symbol in paintings, statues and other art forms. Egyptian priests and kings wore it, being symbolized by the raised serpent on their foreheads. It was symbolic of the third eye being opened. The serpent was a mistakable representation for the seat of light through which the third eye is the source. You may have heard the symbol of the serpent called the Kundalini. Kunt means to burn, Kunda means a coil or spiral. It is a Sanskrit word. Sanskrit was the language of the 200 fallen angels who came to earth after being cast out of Malakut, realm of the Elohim. In India, the seers and sages were called the Nagas, meaning the wise serpents. By raising the seat of light, Kundalini, through the 33 spinal nerves and the relating seats and unfolding the third eye through the 12 cranial nerves and the relating seats, one attains wisdom and spiritual powers. The third eye is also represented on the back of the $1 bill with the pyramid, the source of mysteries. In ancient Egypt, the serpent was called Wadjet or Ojet, the eye of the moon, which Set, brother of Osiris, stole from Horus, which was later given back to him by Thoth. The all-seeing eye has been a symbol of deities. The eye was in control of the sun, moon, stars, and comets. The all-seeing eye is a symbol of the supreme being, the omnipresent deity. Even Nimrod, son of Cush and Semiramis, wanted to be Osiris, User. The word I is made to sound like the first person singular, I meaning myself, me, myself and I, refer to Matthew 6:22. Matthew 6:22, the light of the body is the eye, if therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. Set, brother of Osiris, and Horus had engaged in a terrible fight over the death of Osiris, Horus' father, who was cut up into 14 pieces by Set. Set wanted to take the place of his brother Osiris and his wife, Isis, on the throne in ancient Egypt, and thus, he killed Osiris. During the time that Osiris was murdered, his son Horus was too young to avenge his father's death, so Horus waited until he was old enough to retaliate. The armies of Set and Horus fought a bitter and bloody battle in the fields of Edfu, which Horus won because many of Set's warriors who were still faithful to Isis and Osiris broke from their ranks and joined Horus to defeat Set. Set was then driven out of that part of Egypt and under the eastern borders. This is where Set sought to make a stand at Zaru. Horus and Set's forces fought again, only this time Set and Horus physically fought each other. This fight lasted for many days. When it was over, once again Horus won, but this time he lost an eye to the hand of Set. In ancient Egypt, Horus is represented as a falcon or the falcon-headed man, in which his eyes symbolize the sun and the moon. The phrase the eye of Horus, which is also called the Ujjat, is referring to his right eye, the sun, which is the eye on the dollar bill above the pyramid. It was his right eye that was lost in a terrible battle between him and Set. The open eye is symbol of watchfulness. Psalms 34:15, Psalm 121:4 and Proverbs 15:3. The closed eye is a symbol of sleep and the open eye is awake. Other symbols of the eye of Horus were the winged sun disk used to adorn doorways in ancient Egyptian temples, which was another symbol of Horus, the sun god. The third eye is also the medicine symbol used by physicians. The medical symbol was a combination of the cobra intertwined around a staff and became the medical symbol called the caduceus. The symbol of abbreviation for medicine prescriptions is Rx, which is symbolic of the left eye of Horus. This symbol was first introduced by the Roman physician Galen, 130 to 200 AD, who used this sign when writing prescriptions for his patients. Galen first used this symbol in the 2nd century. The Columbia Broadcasting System, CBS, and Home Box Office, HBO, also use modified version of the Eye of Horus as their logo. The Eye of Horus is called the Falcon Eye of Horus, son of Osiris and Isis. According to the Egyptian myth, the falcon god Horus attacked his uncle to avenge his father's murder. In the ensuing fight, Horus' eye was injured and his eye miraculously evolved into the sign we use today for prescription, the RX symbol. The Native Americans recognized the awareability of human and symbolized the third eye in the headband. The headdress was symbolic of the aura of man. The headdress was worn especially during religious ceremonies. The Buddhists recognized the third eye by placing a jewel in the center of the forehead. In Hindu it is called the Eye of Shiva. It was the center point through which the attributes of Shiva were expressed. Shiva is the deity of both construction and destruction. The third eye was the focal point through which the forces for destruction and construction were individualized. You may have seen the 1,000-petaled lotus used in many art forms. The Hindus selected the 1,000-petaled lotus to represent the highest inner development humans could attain. The lotus unfolds with the coming of dawn or light, just as man's consciousness unfolds. The Eye of Horus, used in Egyptian ceremonies and worn as a talisman, represented the power of the son of Osiris. The symbol was believed to possess the power to ward off all evil. The eye represented the sun and Osiris himself, as the supreme deity. The third eye is accepted by many people as a symbol of deity. Long ago, even though the third eye was considered human spiritual eye, it could see on the physical plane. It was capable of extending vision to distant points. It could see the various planes of life from physical to spiritual, and it was a transmitter of thought as well as sight. When the third eye is used, the physical viewpoint is not used, but the spiritual viewpoint is. The whole body becomes filled with light. The whole body means the physical body and the etheric body. In order for this to be done, the activity in the seat has to be developed. The development is through meditation, breathing exercises, spiritual deeds and sincere spiritual teachings.